Yeah, 61.
Does anyone have any specific questions?
Yeah, Council, do you have any questions about X 179?
Are we doing specifically animal shelter?
Let's do the animal shelter and revenues, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just real quick
Yes.
on the animal shelter, the vehicles. Again, the vehicles were, sorry, there were some vehicles in there, I believe.
No.
Sorry.
No,
So-
that was in
Standing
the,
vehicles, sorry.
Sorry, you're right, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong column. You're good, I'm sorry.
We're only just, we're talking about animal shelter?
yeah, animal shelter.
We increased some of the operating supply revenue for the vet since we don't have TASKK in there anymore, or volunteer. I don't really think there's
So-
and the state did eliminate the $10,000 welfare grant. They brought it back this year. We applied for it, and I think we only got 3,000 out of the 10. I know we didn't get all 10,000. It wasn't very much.
I think it was 3,000.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
does ring a bell. 3,000.
Yes, Councilman Randall?
On the recent overdue, some of the work that we had to do in the shelter, about what did that cost us?
It didn't cost 179. It came out of the building fund.
So it was paid out of all of our, from the building fund?
Yes.
All the repairs in there?
Yep.
The building and grounds fund, not the building.
The building and grounds.
Okay, building and
Yes.
grounds.
Okay, so we're recouping the portobello, as you call it.
Bordatello.
Yeah, Bordatello, yeah, we're recouping that through the fees.
Yes.
Are we gonna still continue to actively fundraise for, injured animals? And all
We
that
will
stuff?
have some fundraising events scheduled
Okay.
at the animal shelter, absolutely. Adoption events.
Okay.
Yep.
See a lot more of those in the summertime. when
Yeah,
no, I
yeah.
understand.
Yes, we will definitely have some of those.
Okay.
I got a question about the adoption events. Do they take cash for those ever? Or, I mean, how's those funds collected?
They're not
and-
supposed to.
Okay.
There's no cash transactions, although we got signs in there, this is no cash transactions.
So we are looking at a different system that could potentially allow to do that. I actually saw it at one of the stores where they have, it's kind of like a,
It's a donation safe.
yeah, it's a safe, and it has like a dollar bill exchanger in it, and you feed it right into there, and it records it electronically and communicates with budget and finance, so there's no way that there's a discrepancy then.
Right.
There's a way to reconcile every dollar. When we get to that point, we would consider a different policy, but until then, it's a no cash policy.
We're actually looking at that, and it looks like they're around $2,000.
But it's worth it if you do a lot of
Right.
fundraising.
Yeah.
Councilor Johnson?
So how about cash down at the compost? Is that ever going to come back at all, some way or form?
I don't see it.
Because I've had people complain about that,
About what?
not be able to pay cash. Some people
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
use it.
Nobody's really doing cash, even the scrap yards aren't doing
I know,
cash
it's
anymore. I mean, there's too much,
You can't get nothing on an
you just,
airplane
it's
unless
just,
you
it
got
just
card on it.
invites problems when you
I
deal
know,
with
we was at
cash.
a golf course, we don't pay cash.
Yeah.
Huh?
Right.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan to have any employees handle any kind of cash.
Yeah, it's just hard to, account for.
It's just invites problems. There may not be one, but there's always that illusion that it could be, it's just the
I know
unaccountable.
better than most.
Councilwoman Katz?
Speaking of cash and that, I noticed in 2016-17, there was animal shelter donations of $72, and then there's nothing for 17-18. Did we not get any donations?
I know we did, but did you know where that was?
It might not, well,
What paper?
It was probably kept in the
161.
donations that we received was probably to the nonprofit, not to the city of Taylor.
That's what I'm asking, was that,
I mean, I'm making an assumption because I don't know the specific answer, and I have no idea what that $72 was unless it was like a bottle drive that they did and the money came in and we got stuck in that account.
yeah, I mean, if I could go down that real quick too, Mr. Chair, Mayor, just, yeah, and at the time that we did the date, back in January, February, there might not have been any donations. If there was donations received since then, it'll show up on here, but the budget will be zero, so you'll have revenue over budget, which is good. It's a conservative approach. That's why we just kept it zero, and if the money did come in, it'll be in that account, but there just won't be a budget there, which is good, because if you have more revenue than budget, an actual, that's good. And if it's not there, say for example, because the personnel at the department, they receive all the money, they allocate it to the account. One other thing that could have happened is that money could be in the animal shelter fee line item. They could have not classified it correctly, but we can review that and see if that's been done too. So.
Well, we need to make sure that it does get reviewed and that it does go into the donation area, not in anything else. I mean, if it's a donation, if I'm giving you a donation, I want it to go into donations, not into something else.
It goes in the general fund, doesn't it?
No, animal shelter fee.
Well, it's in the general fund, but it goes on to the line here. But I'm gonna make sure if I'm, as a person on the outside, going to give you a donation, my credit card or whatever, I wanna make sure that it shows up someplace on here.
I'm not sure, I think a lot of the donations that were going on were going directly to the vet.
Well, again, I'm just saying, I know it's a
And not to
recent
the city,
change.
you know, when. we
Oh, they
had
went
the
right to the vet and
Yeah.
gave it to them.
Yes, they were paid directly.
Because I know it's a recent
There's no way
change.
that we could find out.
I know it's a recent change, so there may be some, because I know we talked with the department, we set up a line item for it on their weekly deposit slips. So, again, if it's coming in, it'll be on there. It's just that at the time we did the budget, it was back in February, so we might not have collected anything at that time, so we just left the budget zero. But since then, we probably, if we did do collections, it'll be in there in actual, but the budget's just not there. But we'll look at it before we do a final budget on May 1st, and if there is actual in there, then I'll put a number in there for the donation.
So, and if they do go to the vet and say, okay, here, this is $500, I want to donate to you, is there any way that we can
Have
that
some
designated
we know that
someplace
they're-
that we know it was donated to the vet
And it's
in that
just on
donation line? You know what I'm
animals
saying?
that we take them, the animal shelter takes them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Even though
I
it's
know
our
that
animal?
South Point, Dr. Cox, when we got rid of the organization, she reached out and volunteered, told them that she would set up an account at her office if they wanted to donate.
So it goes directly to her, and it
Yes.
doesn't have anything really then to do with us.
Correct.
Yeah, but I wanna- I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but I think,
So we would encourage that, right, to donate it.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fine.
yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
easier
yeah,
for
yeah.
everybody.
No, yeah, I agree, that's what I'm
You know, that's easier for everybody.
yeah, but if
Council-
I'm donating
Council-
at the animal shelter with the explicit, that I'm gonna give $500 and I want Taylor Animal Shelter animals to be treated with that money, how can we ever prove that that's what's happening if they're just donating at our business?
I don't think we can.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I was just gonna suggest, the one thing that all the vets wanna just guard against is going into that level of detail, because what happens is this becomes an accounting nightmare for them. You have people then calling and say, I wanna see where every one of my $500 went to and how they treated it, and that's what the vet doesn't wanna spend a bunch of time doing.
Or the money that I donated goes to this dog and not that dog.
Right, yeah, so,
I can
you know,
see that.
so they're saying, hey, we'll put it in the account, we'll make sure it goes to all the animals, but I don't wanna get too far into detail and have them discouraged to a point that they wanna stop doing it.
Well, I'm sure you can go to the animals, you can go over there to the vet and say, if there's a dog that everybody is over.
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
You
if
can go over and say, no, I'm
previously
gonna give you this, but I
donated
want
money.
for that. So I'm sure they will do that. But, yeah. So I can see them not letting us know that, but I still definitely wanna see if we ever have any donations coming in, I wanna see it on that line.
Yeah, starting when we made that change with that policy, we updated their weekly deposit slips to include that line item. So every time they receive a check or whatever for donations, it should be in that line item. So it definitely is being tracked like that from that point
And
on.
whoever is doing that administratively, they need to know that it does go on to them.
I think
Yeah,
that
they do.
$72 is from the bottle drive, no,
It could be, but they do.
That's the only
We
one
had a
that I
meeting on
received, since.
You did have a meeting?
We had a meeting, I
Okay.
discussed it,
So
so
they know exactly what they're doing.
like I can't do it for them,
Well,
but
I know
they had
that.
a meeting
I
on
know
it.
that,
They
but
know,
they've been
they know they should be put.
not told, but instructed.
You know, no, I'm gonna back up too, because about the cash issue. The only time we will handle cash is during the bottle drive. It can't be, there's no other way to do it. People drop off bottles at the site, and we take them in and get the
Oh,
cash.
you have to get that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only time that you will see us handle any kind of cash, is just on the bottle.
But there's no cash in the building?
No, absolutely not, no, none.
Yeah, Councilman
I
Wood.
got one question, and I'm just curious on, under Act 179, how would it affect us if we did have an animal shelter? How would it affect our Act 179 as far as money getting paid or?
We'd have to do a really in-depth analysis, because
Yeah.
that's, so Riverview relies on our animal shelter as part of the act, and of course that allows us to
Get money from their act.
or use their dump facility, and, I mean, it's, I don't know what that answer would be,
Okay.
but,
There would be a new way of billing the garbage. I mean, you would have to do it totally different.
Something on a roof, doing a roof.
That's a big one.
Well, my other thing is, because I know we talked about at one point selling the compost site. So if we did that, how would it affect, like, if we did that, how would that affect 179?
And through a chair to,
I
Council.
mean, I know these are,
It's very, it's more of a legality question, because we do levy a tax, dedicated tax for the Act 179 liability, which is the, animal shelter, arguably the compost, and then the river tipping fee. So if one of those operations were to cease, I don't know what that would do to our ability to levy and things like that for other items. Meaning, okay, we get rid of compost, or we get rid of animal shelter, can we still levy a tax for tipping fees? I don't know.
okay.
but the history of that discussion with the sale or potential sale of the compost, it started that way, and then we realized we couldn't really do it that way because the act would not allow it, or it would be very restrictive. So then we looked at, well, could you outsource the compost entirely? And while we looked at the financial benefits of doing that, what you lost control of was the smell. If you run it and there's a smell, you can go in there and correct it if it gets bad. Somebody else runs it. So we eventually just abandoned all of those and really focused more on the operation itself.
What do they do about the snow? If there is a snow, how do you do that?
Flip it
They
just
put out
outside.
those-
I want to tell you, right now, just with the new compost machine, I go out there a couple days a week, and I was out there just a couple days ago, and they were running the windrow turner, and it was like a cloud because of the steam from the windrow turner going through it, and it had no smell to it at all. And I drove my car right through it, and it had no smell.
So it's
Because
constantly-
we are turning it more often, we are getting more air in it. It's not going to eliminate the smell, but it's definitely going to keep it down with that new compost. I think we're already seeing good results with the new compost.
We are, but keep in mind, it's not 95 degrees right now.
It
Yeah,
isn't,
yeah.
and it's not going to eliminate it, but if last year when you drove through that cloud, you could definitely smell it. But it's helping, it's not going to eliminate it, it is definitely going to help.
Febreze.
We do have the misters, I mean, we have the
Yeah,
mist
misters
misters.
and then the flip it.
They're more of optics, I mean, I don't know that they really do much, but they did it.
Yeah.
What does it mist with
When I
water?
haven't worked in there.
It's got a hose all along the
Yeah.
ends for the misters, so you just keep
Keeps
the
it wet
rest
because that
out.
helps.
Okay.